Okay, now analyze the NMR spectrum of benzene derivative. In this benzene derivative, there are three hydrogen HA, B, and HC. So we have three groups of peaks in this NMR spectrum. There are peaks around 8.2 ppm, and there's another peak around 7.6 ppm, and there are four lines around 8 ppm. There are three groups of peak appears for the benzene derivative. First, this peak around 8.82 ppm comes from the HA proton. Without this proton, the signal appears single line, but there are proton HB. This proton is coupled to HA proton. So this HB proton split the HA signal to doublet. The spacing between two doublet is called JAB. Now, this C proton can be coupled to HA, but the distance between HC and HA is very large. So coupling is very, very small. So this coupling is very, very small. The spacing is very, very small. So this spacing cannot be resolved in our spectrum. This is not shown in our spectrum because this is very, very small. So we only observe doublet. Now this spectrum around 7.6 pm comes from HC proton. Without H and HC, this one shown only single line, but there's a HB proton right next to HC. Due to HB, this B proton is coupled to HC. So this one is split into doublet. The distance between doublet is called JBC. The spacing JBC reflects the strength of the magnetic field. The HB, how much magnetic field HB exerts on the HC, reflects the HBC. Similarly, HA proton can be coupled to HC, but the distance between HC and HA is too large. So, very, very small spacing occurred. So, it is not resolved in our spectrum. It is only shown on single line because the distance is very, very small. In our spectrum, it is not shown. So, only two lines is observed. This is JBC. This is JAB. Now this one comes from HB. Without HA proton, HB proton, single line will be shown. But due to the HC proton can be coupled to HB. So peak is split into doublet. The distance must be JBC. And furthermore, this proton can be coupled to HA. Due to the HA, this peak is further split into doublet. This spacing must be JAB. So we observe four lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. So four lines is observed. Doublet of doublet. So in principle, this line spacing must be JBC, which is equal to this one. And this line spacing must be JAB. this spacing must be equal to this line spacing. Okay? This is the NMR spectrum of this molecule. Okay, let's move on to another molecule. Our second molecule looks like this. In this molecule, we have three kinds of protons: HA, HB, HC. Three protons are equivalent. They are same environment. So when we observe NMR spectrum, we have three groups of peaks from HA proton, HB proton, and HC proton. The spectrum are shown in your handout. Around 6 p.m., one group of peaks are shown, and around 1.8 ppm, another group of peaks are shown, and around 4.2 ppm, there are many peaks are shown. This peak comes from HB proton. The total of 8 lines are shown in this peak. This peak comes from HB proton. The HB proton are coupled to both 3 equivalent protons on the right and 1 proton on the left. So I'm going to analyze the coupling of the HB protons. First, without these protons, the only single line was shown. But this HB proton are coupled to 3 equivalent protons. So I want to first analyze the splitting by the 3 equivalent protons. So each proton has 2 possibilities, up spin and down spin. So we consider a total of 8 combination. First combination is all the spin is up. This is the first combination, and there are another combination, down, down, down. And third possibility is 2 spin up, 1 spin down. But there are 2 more ways, up, down, up, and down, up, up. So there are 3 ways for this configuration. There are only one ways. And 1 up, 2 down. And down, up, down. And down, down, up. So 3 ways. So we have total of 8 combinations. And peak is split into quartet, 1, 3, 3, 1. So due to the coupling to 3 equivalent protons, this peak is split into 1, 3, 3, 1. Quartet is shown due to the discoupling. And these 4 lines are further split into doublet due to the coupling of this single hydrogen. Due to this hydrogen, each line split into doublet. The line spacing corresponds to J, AB. This line spacing corresponds to J, BC. So we have a total of 8 lines observed for our spectrums. But what if JAB equal JBC? What if JAB equal JAC? We observe only 5 lines. Why? First, if this is JBC, and due to the coupling to HA, this line split into doublet. JAB. JAB. If JBC is equal to JAB, these two lines overlap. These two lines overlap. These two lines overlap. If JBC is equal to JAB, then we only observe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If JAB and JBC, but if JAB is not equal to JBC, we observe 8 lines. According to experimental observations, we observe 8 lines. So it means that in this case, JAB is not equal to JBC. Okay, let's move on to another topic. Now consider the molecule SF4. When you talk about VSEPR theory, when you draw Lewis diagram, one lone pair are on sulfur atom. So strength number for sulfur atom is 5. So according to VSEPR theory, the structure is trigonal bipyramidal. So in this structure, we can consider two possible structures. First structure is that lone pair located on axial position. This is the first possible structure. Second possible structure is that lone pair located on equatorial position. As you recall, according to the textbook, the structure is this one. Lone pair are known to located on equatorial position. How do you know that this molecule takes this structure? This structure was confirmed by fluorine NMR. When you measure fluorine NMR, the structure is this one. Now, if the structure is this one, what would expect the NMR spectrum of fluorine NMR? And when you measure fluorine NMR, there are two types of fluorine, axial fluorine and equatorial fluorine. So we have two groups of fluorine appears. First, the signal from the fluorine equatorial position fluorine are coupled to axial fluorine. These signals are split by the axial position fluorine. There are two fluorine which are in axial position. So this peak is split into triplet because this fluorine atom are coupled to by two axial fluorine. So it is split to triplet. Similarly, when you measure the signal from the axial position fluorine, this one are coupled by two fluorine atoms which are in equatorial position. So the signal from the axial position fluorine are split into triplet. So we observe two triplet signal. If the structure is this one, this is the actual spectrum. When we measure the fluorine NMR spectrum, it looks like this one. This is the actual spectrum we obtain fluorine NMR spectrum. So this spectrum confirms that the structure is this one. But assume that if the structure is not this one, what spectrum would you expect? If the spectrum is this one, what spectrum would you expect? Similarly, there are two kinds of fluorine, equatorial position fluorine there are 3 fluorine atoms in equatorial position and there are 1 axial position fluorine. We have 2 groups of peaks are shown, but in this case, for axial position fluorine, this one are coupled by 3 equatorial position fluorine. So signal from the axial position fluorine are split into quartet because it is coupled by 3 fluorine atoms. What about fluorine atoms in equatorial position? Equatorial position fluorine are coupled by 1 axial fluorine. So the signal from the equatorial position fluorine are split into doublet. When the molecular structure is this one, spectrum should be looks like this, doublet and quartet. But actual spectrum is not this one. Actual spectrum is not this one. Actual spectrum is this one. It means that structure is this one. So using fluorine NMR spectrum, we confirm that SFO structure is this one. And let's move on to another molecule. ClF3. When you draw Lewis diagram, there are 2 lone pair on chlorine atoms. So similar to SF4, string number is still 5. Trigonal bipyramidal structure. So there are 3 possible structure. First structure is both lone pair are on axial position. Second possible structure is both lone pair are on equatorial position. Third possible structure is lone pair, 1 lone pair on axial, 1 lone pair are equatorial position. This is the 3 possible structure. As in the textbook, the structure is this one. Then how do you confirm the structure of ClF3 is this one? This structure is also confirmed by fluorine NMR spectrum. When you measure the NMR spectrum, what spectrum would you expect when the structure is this one? What spectrum would you expect? There are 2 kinds of fluorine atoms, axial position fluorine atoms and equatorial position fluorine atoms. So we have 2 groups of peaks. 2 groups of peaks should be shown. And for the fluorine atom in axial position are coupled by 1 fluorine atom. So this peak must be doublet because this axial position fluorine atom are coupled by 1 equatorial position fluorine. So it is doublet. Then for the signal from the equatorial position fluorine atom are coupled by 2 fluorine atoms because the equatorial position fluorine are coupled by 2 fluorine atoms. The signal must be triplet. So this is the NMR spectrum we would expect from this structure. So actual spectrum is this one, doublet and triplet. So from the NMR spectrum, we can confirm that the structure for ClF3 is this one. Now, this is the fluorine NMR spectrum. Fluorine has spin quantum number 1/2. So it can generate NMR signal. Now, carbon 13 can also generate NMR spectrum. The spin quantum number of carbon 13 is 1/2. So this one also generates NMR spectrum. But carbon 12 cannot generate NMR spectrum because quantum number for carbon 12 is 0. So carbon 12 cannot generate NMR spectrum. Why the I equals 0 for carbon 12. The nucleus of carbon 12 composed of 6 neutrons and 6 protons. It is composed of 6 neutrons and 6 protons. The quantum number of neutron is 1 over 2. Quantum number of proton is also 1 over 2. So there are two possible orientation for neutron, up spin and down spin. Similar to neutron, proton has also spin up, spin down. According to particle physics, the ground state of carbon 12, 6 particles are up spin. 6 particles are up spin, 6 particles are down spin. This is the ground state of carbon 12. So up spin cancels exactly down spin. So for this nucleus, I equals 0. So carbon 12, nucleus carbon 12 does not have spin. So it does not have magnetic moment. So it does not respond to external magnetic field. So this one does not generate magnetic NMR signal. So we measure carbon 13 NMR. So for carbon 13, we consider the NMR spectrum of methanol, ethanol. When you purchase ethanol, the sample contains a mixture of 4 molecules. And first molecule, both carbon are carbon 12. Majority of material are this molecule. 98% account for this molecule accounts for 98% of the total sample. Second molecule is that this carbon atom is carbon 13. This is the account almost about 1%. 1% of this molecule accounts for total. Third molecule, in this case, this carbon is carbon 12, this carbon is carbon 13. This molecule accounts for 1%. And lastly, both carbon are substituted by carbon 13. This is almost 0%. So when you measure NMR spectrum, this molecule cannot generate NMR spectrum. This molecule cannot generate NMR spectrum, but quantity is very, very small. So signal is very, very weak. So we cannot observe the NMR spectrum from molecule 4. So when you measure NMR spectrum, the signal practically comes from only molecule 2 and molecule 3. So first, I'm going to analyze the spectrum from molecule 2. Molecule 2, the carbon on the left is carbon 13. So when you measure the carbon 13 NMR spectrum, signal comes from this carbon. So without hydrogen, only single peak must be appears. But the carbon are coupled to 3 hydrogens. As we explained, this hydrogen has spin, charged spin. So this is actually magnet. So this hydrogen can be coupled to carbon 13. So due to this 3 equivalent proton, this peak is split into quartet. 1, 3, 3, 4. This is the actual spectrum, which comes from carbon 13 because the coupling due to 3 equivalent hydrogen. This is the spectrum due to molecule 2. Now, molecule 3. In molecule 3, this carbon is substituted by carbon 13. So without proton, only single line would be observed. But this carbon are coupled to by two hydrogen. So this peak is split into triplet because this carbon is coupled to by two hydrogen. So this is the spectrum obtained from molecule 3. But you might expect that this hydrogen can also be coupled to carbon 13. But the coupling due to this hydrogen is not shown in the spectrum. What's the reason why this hydrogen cannot be coupled? It is a little bit delicate. The bond between oxygen and hydrogen is actually very weak. It is easily broken and easily formed. So first assume that the spin state of hydrogen is up spin. Initially this bond is formed, but sometimes later this bond is broken. This bond is broken and hydrogen leave the oxygen. And sometimes later another hydrogen bond. And the spin state of new hydrogen may be downspin. And sometimes later this bond is broken again. So this hydrogen leave this hydrogen. And sometimes later another hydrogen bond. In this time, this hydrogen spin state is upspin. Sometimes later, this hydrogen leaves oxygen. And another hydrogen bond. The spin state of hydrogen may be upspin. In this way, the spin state of this hydrogen fluctuate, upspin, downspin, upspin, down. Very rapidly, the spin state is fluctuate. So this oxygen or carbon 13 only see the average spin of this spin state. So average of the spin state is fluctuate, rapidly fluctuate. So average spin state is almost approach to zero. So coupling due to this hydrogen is not shown because the spin state is not fixed. It rapidly fluctuates. So this carbon 13 only see the average spin state of this hydrogen. So average is approach to zero. So it is not shown. Anyway, and when you take a close look at this spectrum, this line is not single line as in the spectrum. When you take a closer look at this one, this line is not actually quartet. This is not a single line. This is a quartet. Why each line is quartet? Because this spacing due to the coupling due to this hydrogen, this splitting comes from this coupling. This hydrogen can be coupled to hydrogen again. Even though the hydrogen is very far away from carbon, this coupling is shown on the spectrum. So we can have detailed information about the structure of this molecule. So in this way, NMR spectrum gives a very, very detailed structure of this molecule. Two bond separation can be also shown in our NMR spectrum. Okay. Now, so carbon 13 NMR spectrum plays a very, very important role in the discovery of carbon 60. The existence of carbon 60 was first discovered by mass spectrometry. Mass spectrometry measures the molecular mass. When you measure the mass spectrometry, it consistently measures the mass spectrum at 720, which corresponds to the molecular formula carbon 60. Anyway, from mass spectrometry, we confirm that this molecule exists. But the molecular structure was unknown. Only the molecular formula was known. Molecular structure was not unknown. but scientists call Smalley suggested that the structure must be Sarkov structure. So it looks like this. In the here carbon, and the structure was confirmed by carbon 13 NMR spectrum. So all the carbon were enriched by carbon 13. All the carbon was enriched by carbon 13 to measure NMR spectrum. Carbon 12 does not generate NMR spectrum. So all the carbon atoms was enriched by carbon 13. So when the other carbon atoms were enriched carbon 13, we measured NMR spectrum. How many peaks would you expect when the carbon 64 structure is like a soccer ball? Only one peak, because even though the carbon 60 has composed of 6 carbon atoms, all the carbons are in the identical environment. So only one peak is shown, as shown in the spectrum. When you measure the NMR spectrum, only one single peak appears. It means that even though there are 60 carbon in the molecule, all the carbons are in the same environment. The structure, only structure which are consistent with the observation is a Sarkov structure. So with this NMR spectrum, this structure was confirmed. So NMR spectrum is a very, very important role to determine the structure of carbon 60. And when I explained the principle of NMR spectroscopy, proton is here, and I apply magnetic field. And actually, electron surrounds proton, and generally, the electron generate magnetic field in the opposite direction to the magnetic field. So proton face smaller magnetic field. So this is the frequency. Without assume that the strength of magnetic field is 2.34 Tesla. Without electron, the transient frequency is 100 megahertz. But due to the electron shield the proton, so the proton feels smaller magnetic field because electron generates magnetic field in the opposite direction. So the proton feels smaller magnetic field than the 2.34 Tesla. So transient frequency gets smaller than 100 megahertz, right? But sometimes opposite occurs. Sometimes electron generate magnetic field in the same direction. So in this case, transient frequency is higher than 100 megahertz. Classic example is benzene molecule. In benzene molecule, electron generate magnetic field in the same direction as B0. What happens in the benzene molecule? When we apply magnetic field, benzene are famous for the delocalized pi electrons. When we apply magnetic field, ring current flows around the benzene ring. This ring current generates magnetic field which looks like this. This is the magnetic field generated by ring currents. The direction of ring current looks like this. And the hydrogen are on the outside of the ring. So in this case, the hydrogen feels magnetic field in the same direction as B0. So hydrogen feels additional magnetic field. So it is de-shielded. So chemical shift is very large for benzene molecules. This effect is dramatic in another molecule called aniline. The aniline molecular structure is shown out in the handout. In benzene molecule, hydrogen is on outside, but in aniline, this is aniline. Hydrogen is on the outside and there are also hydrogen on the inside. So there are two kinds of hydrogen on the outside and inside. So when we apply magnetic field, same as benzene, ring current flows on the aniline. Does ring current generate magnetic field? Looks like this. This magnetic field looks like this. Outside, the magnetic field is in the same direction as B0, but inside magnetic field is the opposite direction of the B0. So for the hydrogen on the outside, the hydrogen face additional magnetic field, which is in the same direction as B0. So delta is very high, 9 ppm. But hydrogen on the inside, it feels the opposite direction. So delta is very, very small, minus 3 ppm. So very different chemical shift is shown for this molecule. And there are two terms that are frequently used in NMR spectroscopy. Upfield downfield. This term comes from how NMR spectrum is obtained. So I explain in NMR spectroscopy like this. Proton is here and magnetic field is applied, 2.34 Tesla. This is the frequency. When I apply magnetic field 2.34 Tesla, the resonance frequency of proton, bare proton, is 100 megahertz. But when the electron surrounds proton, electron shields proton, so the proton feels smaller magnetic field. So the transition frequency get lowered, transition frequency decrease. So peak lowered. So in this setup, magnetic field is fixed, and we vary the frequency of the radio frequency. This is fixed. In this experimental setup, B0 is fixed. We vary the radio frequency to resonate the proton, right? This is the original experimental setup, but sometimes later, experimental setup is changed. In this experimental setup, this one is fixed. And this one varies. Experimental setup is reversed. So what happens when this is fixed and B0 is varies? So first, when there are no proton, the resonance field strength is 2.34 Tesla. When radio frequency is 100 megahertz, the resonance field strength is 2.34 Tesla. Now, when electrons surrounds the proton, the electron shields the proton, the B0, what would you expect? B0 should increase or decrease to resonate proton. In this case, when the electron shields proton, B0 should increase, right, to resonate proton for fixed frequency 100 megahertz, right? B0 should be increased when electron surrounds proton. So this field is called upfield. So we say that when electron shields or electron density increase, peak are shown at upfield. B0 should increase to resonate the proton, right? So this is the term for upfield. Okay, let's move on. Consider this molecule. There are two kinds of hydrogen, Ha proton and Hb proton. When you measure the spectrum, the Ha proton split into triplet because this Ha proton coupled to two hydrogens. And B proton are coupled to one hydrogen. The peak is split into doublet. The spacing of doublet reflects the strength of the magnetic field Ha proton exerted on the Hb. Right? Now, this spectrum measured at B0 at 2.34 Tesla. Now, what happens when I increase B0 468 Tesla? When I double the strength of the magnetic field, what happens to the spectrum of this? This is a frequency. When we double the strength of the magnetic field, transition frequency doubles, right? When we increase the strength of magnetic field, transition frequency must doubles, right? So this peak doubles here. This peak doubles here. This is the spectrum when we use B0 4.68 Tesla. So I want to say that what happens to the separation between two groups of peaks? This separation doubles, right? Because each peak doubles, the separation between two groups of peaks also doubles, right? This is the main point I want to say. So this separation reflects the difference in environment of Ha proton and Hb proton. When the environment in which Ha proton, Hb proton is small, the difference is very, very small. When the two protons are similar environment, the difference is very, very small. Sometimes it is overlap, so it is difficult to resolve. In this case, when we increase the magnetic field, the separation increase is easier to resolve. So in this case, when the two protons are similar environment, it is good choice to increase the magnetic field. Then the separation doubles, resonance increase. But the spacing, this spacing is called JAB. This spacing JAB does not change. The spacing between two groups of peaks doubles, but the spacing JAB does not change. JAB does not depend on the field strength B0, right? Why? The spacing of doublet reflects the strength of magnetic field Ha proton exerted, right? The spacing is not related to the external magnetic field. This spacing reflects the strength of magnetic field of Ha proton exerted. This one reflects the strength of magnetic field Ha generate on the Hb. So it is not related to B0. So even though I double the B0, this one remains same, identical. Okay, finally. In NMR spectroscopy, NMR is actually absorption spectroscopy. So this is ground state. This is excited state. This is a radio frequency. Initially, there are ground state. There are 3 molecules in the ground state. A detector placed opposite direction, opposite side. Now assume that there are 3 molecules in the ground state and 3 molecules in the excited state. In this case, no absorption occurs. Why? In this case, molecule in the ground state make a transition to the excited state. Absorption occurs. But at the same time, the molecule in the excited state make a transition to the ground state. It is stimulated by this radio frequency. This is called emission. Absorption rate depends on how many molecules is in the ground state. Emission rate is depend on how many molecules in the excited state. If the molecule in the ground state is equal to the number of molecules in the excited state, these two rate is equal. In this case, no absorption observed in this case. So in this case, absorption spectrum is not shown. So it is problem. So the population must be different. Population difference is proportional. The absorption signal is proportional to the population difference. If population difference is 0, no absorption is shown. So population difference is key point to observe absorption. So the population difference is related to the Boltzmann statistics. This is the probability that molecule is in the energy E. So according to this statistics, this is the energy of the excited state. When the energy level is higher, the population difference is large. When energy is higher, there are almost no molecule in the excited state. When energy is lower, there are many molecules in the excited state. So in this case, population difference is small. In this case, population difference small. So in this case, absorption is very, very small. In this case, population difference is large. So absorption is large. But NMR corresponds to this situation. UV visible corresponds to this situation. So in UV visible, we have a large absorption cross section. But in NMR corresponds to this situation. For example, when the ground state has 10,000 molecule, the number of molecules in the excited state is 9,999. There are only small differences in the NMR spectrum. So very, very small absorption signal is shown in NMR spectrum. This is the problem for NMR spectrum. So to increase the absorption signal, we need to increase the excited state, energy level of the state. How do we increase the energy level of this one? We should increase B0. When you increase the B0, the excited energy level increase. So it is very, very important to increase the B0. When you increase B0, energy level of excited state increase. So population difference increase. And furthermore, when you increase B0, resolution increase. So B0 is very, very important in NMR spectroscopy.